we have another person who posted the question. Um, she says, Lisa, she says, my son is going into ninth grade and he is
Mhm.
nowhere near ready academically ready.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
she says, we're considering that since he's way behind, what should we do? Should we put him in public education? What do we do with the high school? What
Mm.
happens? Let's just talk about
Mhm.
a middle school student who is behind.
Mhm.
And I want to say something while you're thinking about your
Mhm.
answer.
Mhm.
I love the beauty in homeschooling to review.
Mm.
Just like I gave the example
Mhm.
of my student who was working on division and had
Right.
not mastered the
Multiplication,
multiplication, how
right.
we were able to close the book.
Right.
I think where we get a little worried is that when the book says level 9, level
Mm.
10, or 6,
Mhm.
7,
Mhm.
8, and if we can't do what's inside the book, we we feel defeated, all of us as
That's right.
parents. And
That's right.
so it's okay to close the book and say, you know what, let's get a better basis, stronger foundation on your math, stronger foundation on
Mhm.
your writing skills, stronger foundation on your reading.
Mhm.
And what you'll find is that when you open that book later, and I cannot tell you how my library at home has
Mhm.
become filled with books that when I got it, I was like, okay, we're not going to be able to work on this yet, but
Mhm.
we're going to work on this and it'll bring us to this.
Mhm.
So that is always, and so I always say, if you have a student who is approaching, you have an eighth grader who's approaching ninth grade and they're just not ready, keep going.
Mhm.
Keep going in the book that you're using. Just because
Mhm.
ninth grade starts doesn't mean that you have to open up all of these high school materials that they're not ready.
Right.
Summer times becomes a review. And I
Mhm.
have in many occasions had the beginning of my homeschool years, of the new year
Mhm.
be a review of the previous year. So I
Right.
think that that's a nice window, if you will, to
Right.
kind of see where your child falls. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the other question to ask is she says that he's behind. Is he behind, categorically in every subject or just in some areas? Because
It's a
one
good
of the other
question.
things that you talked about is that, the maybe he can do ninth grade work in some subjects and continue in, building some of the foundational principles, do some remediation and while you're doing remediation in some of those other areas. And so, I think going into high school is usually it's a point where a lot of parents decide, you know what, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I
Yes.
think if you were to just consider the academics, then I could see the temptation for that. But one of the things, and obviously I'm biased, but I think the home through high school is still the best place, one of the best places to educate your children. If you can continue to do it, then I think it's worth it to find strategies to make it work and to adapt to the level of the child. So we talked about in the beginning that middle schoolers are developing cognitively, but it's not all linear. They don't all
Right.
grow and develop the capacity for certain things at the same time or at the same rate as other people. And sometimes there's gaps, and so we wait for them to mature a little in certain areas, and we build them up in those areas that they are doing well, so that you
Love
have a
that.
sense of success, so that they don't have a sense of failure. I think one other thing, and you got this behind you. I think it's really important to build. We got this. We can do this. Make it positive. Keep it success oriented and not focus on the deficits. Keep it moving forward and positive. I think that's really
Yes.
helpful for parent and for student.